Hey there, thanks for joining Coding with Tapas. I am Tapas Adhikari, and today we are going to learn about a JavaScript method called split. Before we get started, I would just like to request you to subscribe to this channel to get further videos, and we can probably collaborate on many more in future. So to get started, I need a code editor. I'll be using Visual Studio Code as my preferred code editor, but you can use any of the code editor that you would like, right? And as we'll be learning about a method from JavaScript today, we want to run that particular method output and I want to see it live. For that purpose, we want to use it along with HTML, right? So what I'm going to do is like I'm going to create a HTML file. So first, let's create a project folder. Let's name it as SRC. And inside that, we'll be creating index.html. You can name it anything that you want. Let me quickly create a content of index.html file. I'll be using the VS Code emit, which will give me, some HTML content very fast. So I have got a content, and here what I'm going to do is like I'm going to put a title. Let's put like JS split method, and let's put maybe some HTML tag just to see like our output is coming correctly. So see all the output in the browser console, right? Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Cool. So we have index.html ready, and let us just quickly run it and see like how does it work. Now there are various way you can learn it and run it. Is like you can open this index.html directly into your browser and try to run it. In some cases it may not work if it has dynamic data. It is always good to run it by kind of serving from a server. So you can use any browser, any extension like live server, a VS Code extension, or in general, like I use like npx serve. So npx serve is like you don't have to really install anything, you just have node.js, and you just do npx serve and a folder to serve, and it will automatically kind of serve and give you a url to access. So just going to do that. So for that, I'll open up a new terminal, and once the terminal is ready, I'm going to write the command npx serve SSC. Let's press enter. All right, so this is ready, and the app is running on this particular URL, localhost 5000. So let me open up my browser, go to localhost 5000, and see what exactly there. All right, so I have this HTML file output from here. I can see that big text over there. I can see the title I have given. So all set. The HTML is running well. So next thing that we're going to do is to create a JavaScript file and then include the JavaScript file in the HTML. And we'll be writing all our code example about the split method in the JavaScript file itself. So let's get that thing done. So inside src, create a file with name index.js. Feel free to give any name. I prefer index.js, and let us give a console.log over here so that we know like things are coming up well. JS split example. All right, so I have a console over here, console.log, and we'll go to index.html file now, and here we'll be including the script. um, let's include the script with src and then do index.js file. We are all set. So we have now included the JavaScript file. At this point, the JavaScript file only got one line which says console.log JS split examples. Awesome. So we'll go to the browser now, open up the Chrome debugger DevTools so that we can see everything in the console output. We don't see anything because we have not refreshed the browser. So let's refresh the browser. And once the browser refreshed, we see that JS split examples over here, which is coming from index.js line number 1, which is this. Great. Now it's time to get started with the split method. So the split method in JavaScript is a method on the string. What exactly string is? String is a sequence of character. Every programming language is got string, to some or the other form. So for example, if I write things like const msg equals to yes, you can do it, this is a string. Yeah, because it is a kind of sequence of characters. I don't want this space in the front, so I just remove that. So one good part in JavaScript is like each of the characters in the string are indexed. So it means that you can query a particular character from a string with its index value. So the index starts with 0. So it means at the index 0, the character Y is there. At the index 1, the character E is there. Index 2, the character S is there, and so on. So if I just take this one and print like console.log msg of 0, what do you expect? So I expect a Y to come here, a Y to print. So let's do that. I'll just save it, and I got a Y, right? So like that, you can actually go and put all the index starting with 0 till the string length minus 1, because it's an array like notation. An array always starts with the index 0 and it goes with the length minus 1. So with the length minus 1, you can actually get the last one, right? So this is good. I mean, you can get the character by character from a string, but it may not be very handy if you want to kind of pick up a particular section of a string, a particular character sequence from the string based on certain conditions. That is where the string object in JavaScript got plenty of other methods. So today we'll be discussing one such method called split. So what exactly split does? In JavaScript, the split can be invoked on a string. So MSG is a string. We can invoke the method called split, and this method can be invoked with optional splitter or divider, right? So what exactly a splitter or divider means is like you can pass any character or a character sequence or a regular expression as an argument to the split method to tell JavaScript to split this particular string based on that particular divider. So in this particular string, yes, you can do it. If I want to split this one with a space, so it means wherever it sees a space is here. So from here to here, before this, it will create one fragment, of an element. After space, again another fragment. Up, then it, another one, and so on. And it will put all these fragments into an array and return it, right? So let us just hold it in an array variable arr and try to print this guy console.log arr. So what we are expecting over here, we have taken a string, now splitting it based on the a space character. So wherever it is space, it will break, it will split, and it is going to get the element and put the element in an array and going to return. So let's see the output of this one. So I will go over there and quickly refresh this guy, and you see here, so you have seen everything got splitted with a space. I'll just copy it and paste it over so that we can see it, you know line by line. Yeah, see here. So first you got yes, then the space, it will ignore the space, it will go to you, then can, then do, then eat with exclamation. Perfect. So this is what exactly split does, so if we know this much, it is probably 80% of knowing it. Now, rest of the 20%, why it is required? Because one is like if you are going for an interview, your interviewer might trick you with certain tricky question about split, so it is important to know it. And in some cases, it might come handy, right? When you are debugging something or somebody else code and they have used, some of the things. So we'll see rest of the 20% also right now. So another thing that you can do with split is like you can limit this output. You may not want, all the elements of this array, that whatever you're seeing here as an output of the split method. Rather, you're just interested in this first two. So what you can do is like you can put like ltt let a r2, excuse my variable naming, then split split. Let us split by the space character and limit the output array element just to two elements. Let us just print this guy and see like what exactly the output. So I'm expecting it is just going to give yes comma and then u, and it is going to ignore rest of it because I'm saying that limit it to two. So we'll go over there and refresh. Awesome. So we have yes and u. This is what we wanted, right? If you have noticed, initially I told that this particular parameter, the splitter or the divider itself is optional. And we have seen that the limit is also an optional. So that means we can invoke the split method without any argument passed to it, right? So what exactly happen if we do that? Let's see. So let's take another variable, of course 3 this time, and we have msg dot split msg dot split. So this time I have not passed any parameters, no arguments passed to it. So what do you expect to happen? So what happened in this case if you don't pass the divider or the splitter? In the previous case it was an empty space. It is going to take the entire string, the message string, which is like yes you can do it, put that in an array as a single element array and just to return that. So we'll run it. We'll just go ahead and run that. We will refresh it. See that? Yes, you can do it. You have that entire thing over here, right? So you may need this in some certain circumstances and certain use cases. So that is the time you can use this one. Now the next thing that we're going to see that I have seen my colleagues asking in interview, and some of my friends they have told that I have got this as an interview question. So I thought of kind of covering it up here also. So let's see. I will take an empty string now, which is like this. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to split this empty string without passing any splitter or divider. What do you think the output is gonna be? Okay, so we are taking an empty string and splitting, but we are not passing anything. In the previous case, we had a string, a proper string. We are splitting without a splitter. So what exactly happened? The entire string value, become an element of an array, and that is the one array that is got written. So in this case, I am expecting something like that. One array will be returned, and in this case, the element will be a particular empty string, right? Or the similar kind of philosophy. In that case, the message was the only element to the array. In this case, the message, but in this case, empty string will be the only element to an array, right? So let's do a console.log of this one. Console.log, and we'll try to print this. Refresh. You got it? So we got an empty string. Now let me just change this one a bit, just to make it a little bit more challenging. So I'll copy this guy and paste it over here. And now we will split it by an empty string. So the difference between this and this is, in the previous case we were not passing any splitter. In this case we are passing a splitter. Now see what happened. What exactly the output for this one? Yes, the output is as an empty array. So there is a kind of clear difference between the earlier case and this one, and your interviewer might trick you with some of these things. So I just thought of kind of covering it. Awesome. So this is good. Now the next thing that I'm going to touch base is like, so far we have seen passing a character or a character sequence as the splitter or the divider to the split method. And I mentioned that you can also pass regular expression to a split method and try to split based on the regular expression, right? To do that, let us take a kind of lengthy string, and we will try to split the lengthy string with using certain regular expressions. So let us take a string where we have full stop, we have certain exclamation mark, certain question mark, something like this, you know. So we have, say, let message, and the sky is blue, grass is green, do you know the color of cloud? So you have all this. Now what I'm going to do is here is like I'm going to split this guy based on this period sign, occurrence of the period sign, exclamation, and the question mark. So let's do that. So we'll do a message dot, of course, split, and then we'll be writing the regular expression. So we won't be teaching regular expression over here. That may be a separate class, but just assume that this is the right regular expression to recognize the occurrences of um, period sign, then an exclamation mark, and then a question mark. And then you have, of course, you have to close this bracket, right? Yeah, you have to close this bracket. Now I have this. Let's now console.log of message. And if I try to print it, the sky is blue. Okay, sorry, I did something wrong. Not message. I have to put it into a array variable, and I have to print that instead. Yeah. So it will return an array. An expectation is like return an array, and it will split by first this much, then it will take this from the space to this much, and so on. So let's go and see the output. So we have this, we have the sky is blue, then the grass is green, and this one, and then of course there is a space. So space also kind of came over here, like an empty, sorry, not an empty string, not exactly the strings. Now you by now you can understand, like, how to ignore this one. You may want just first, second, and third. So one thing you can do is, like, you can tweak the regex itself to ignore it, or you can just in your split method pass the limit, right? You want the first three. So we'll just save it, and we want, yeah. So we have only the first three as an output. So we have splitted it. Great. So um, the next thing that we'll see using split is like one use case. So the use case is I want to replace occurrence of one character with another character. In the programming language, you would have faced, like, you have a name value, and based on the name value you might want to create an id. So for example, the name value might have space, but html id cannot have a space. Now if you want to use the name as an id, and if the name has space, your id is not going to work out properly. Then you can think about using a library like Lodash, which is like going to create a different cases value, like a camel case or kebab case or any other cases. Or you can also take an advantage of split method and quickly do replacement. So let me see, like, how we can do that. Let's take a name. Maybe for now I'll take my name. All right. So what we'll do, we can actually, let's first split this guy using the space value. So what will happen now is, like, it will return an array of two elements. The first element will be tapas, second element will be adhikari. Now next what we can do is we can actually call an array method called join, and here we can pass any token that we want the element of the array to be joined with. I passed hyphen, you can pass underscore or any other character of your choice. So, and then we just keep it in a variable called, say, joined, and we'll print this guy, console.log join. So what is happening here, we take this name, then split it based on the space splitter. We get an array as an output. Array has two elements, one is like tapas, next is adhikari. Then we join these two elements, tapas and adhikari, with a hyphen in between, and we actually print the joint variable. So the joint variable expected to be tapas hyphen adhikari. So if I go over here, just refresh, I see this guy, right? Tapas hyphen adhikari. So this is cool, right? This is one of the use case. You can actually use it without relying on an external library, things like that. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about while explaining split is, like, so split returns an array, right? So it means you really don't have to create multiple variables with multi-line and extract one element from the returned array of the split method. Rather, you can use the super cool destructure syntax of array and can destructure the elements in and then assign to a variable at one go, right? So let's see that, once quick. So what we'll do is we'll just take the same name for the simplicity sake. So take it the same name, and then we'll be using the array destructuring. First, we'll declare the variable, say first name. These are of, based on your choice, the variable name. And then we can do like name dot split of a space. So what exactly I have done here? I am splitting is based on the space. So this is going to return me an array of two elements like tapas and adhikari. Then I am mapping tapas to this particular variable first name. It means the first name will have the value tapas and the last name will have the value adhikari. This is the array destructuring syntax introduced in ES6. It's very, very powerful, very handy, help you to write a lot of less code and smart code. So if I just now print the stuff console.log first name comma last name, I wish that I will see my both the names, over here. Yes, I see that. So that's pretty much it. I think about the split method. I hope you enjoyed coding and learning with me. So I'll be back with another small session with something else. So stay tuned. Please don't forget to like the video, comment on it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and please subscribe so that we can actually enjoy learning together. Thank you very much. See you again next time.